Ever had that moment where you're talking to someone and their name just vanishes from your brain?
Oh, absolutely.
Like it just slips through a trapdoor,
Yeah.
and you're standing there kind of panicking.
Yeah, it's like that feeling when you've got a test and your mind just goes blank.
It's the worst.
You know it, but you just can't access it.
Exactly. And it always seems to happen at the worst possible moment.
Always.
So, for today's deep dive, we're tackling this very relatable struggle.
It's a good one.
We're diving into an episode of the Rhill English podcast called What's Your Name Again? Have you heard of it?
Oh, yeah, it's a great listen.
Yeah, so they break down some really useful phrases you can use if you find yourself in that awkward name blanking situation.
Which we've all been there, let's be honest.
Oh, 100%. I've used a few of these myself, actually.
You and me both.
It's so interesting how much weight we put on remembering names, right?
It's true. It's like this weird social currency.
Yeah, and I think the podcast does a great job of getting in to the psychology of these interactions.
Totally agree.
Because it's not just about, remembering a name. It's about navigating that whole social dance of saving face.
Absolutely.
And not just your own face, but the other person's as well.
It's like, how do we get through this awkward moment together?
Exactly. Okay, so the podcast starts with a scenario I'm sure we've all experienced at some point.
Uh-oh, I'm already cringing.
Two people, Nick and Anna, they bump into each other after meeting at a conference like the week before.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
And Nick, he's in a bit of a hurry.
The worst time for a memory lapse.
The worst, right. And of course, he can't remember Anna's name to save his life.
Oh, no.
It's painful to even listen to.
I bet. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion.
It is. But this is where those handy English expressions come in. To subtly signal he's short on time, Nick uses the phrase, in a bit of a hurry.
Oh, that's a good one.
Classic.
Right. It's so subtle, but it gets the point across.
Exactly. And it's something we can all use even when we're not, trying to disguise the fact that we've forgotten someone's name.
Totally. Like it's a polite way of saying, I've got to run.
Exactly. And it buys you a little bit of time to maybe, try to remember their name.
Hopefully. Or come up with another plan.
Exactly. Okay, so Nick's bought himself a little time, but he still needs to figure out Anna's name without making it super obvious.
The pressure is on.
Right. So what's his next move? He goes for the classic contact details play.
Ooh, smooth. I like it.
Yeah.
It's so natural.
It's so natural.
Like, who doesn't love networking?
Exactly. It's like a win-win.
Exactly. You get the information you need, and they feel important.
And it's not even weird if you do know their name already.
Totally. It's just good business etiquette.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, sometimes we need that little backup plan, right? In case our brains decide to take a vacation.
Oh, absolutely. Our brains can be our own worst enemies sometimes.
But what about when your mind is totally blank?
Oh, I've been there.
Like you can't even come up with a smooth tactic to get that name.
You're just stuck.
You're just stuck.
Yep.
Thankfully, the podcast gives us a good phrase for this. Your name has just slipped my mind.
It's so simple.
Right.
But it works.
Why do you think it works?
I think it's because it acknowledges the forgetfulness.
Yeah.
It's like we're all human.
Totally. It's relatable.
Exactly. We've all been there.
Have you ever used that phrase?
Oh, all the time. And it usually gets a laugh.
Me too.
Which is good, right?
It breaks the ice.
It takes the pressure off.
Because it could be so awkward.
It really could.
Yeah.
You're just standing there like a deer in headlights.
Exactly. And it's funny because, I actually had this happen at a party once.
Oh, no.
I completely blanked on the name of a close friend's new partner.
Awkward.
And I kind of panicked for a second and I just blurted out, I'm so sorry, but your name has completely escaped me. How'd they react?
They laughed. We all laughed about it.
That's good.
It really did just break the ice.
Yeah.
Sometimes those vulnerable moments, they just make the interaction more genuine,
Definitely. And speaking of relatable, the podcast hosts also shared a funny story about forgetting a family member's name.
Oh, no, not family.
It just goes to show it can happen to anyone.
Anywhere, anytime.
Exactly. It's
Right.
like no matter how close you are to someone.
Your brain can still pull a fast one on you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So maybe the lesson here is don't be too hard on yourself.
Exactly. Give yourself a break.
We're all human.
And sometimes the simplest approach is the best.
You know what else I found interesting in the podcast? One of the hosts, she admitted to using a bit of a sneaky tactic.
Oh, sneaky. I'm intrigued.
So she'll ask for someone's email address as a way to jog her memory.
Oh, that's clever.
Right, because email addresses often have people's full names in them.
It's like a subtle reminder.
Exactly.
Mm.
But it also got me thinking, like, where's the line between being resourceful and, I don't know, maybe a little manipulative?
That's a good question.
Because you're kind of tricking someone into revealing their name, right?
True. It's a bit of a gray area, isn't it?
It is. And it made me think, is it better to just be upfront and say, hey, I'm so sorry, but I totally forgotten your name?
Right. Like, honesty is the best policy.
Exactly. But then it's like, ugh, the embarrassment.
It's that age-old dilemma.
It really is. So I guess there's no easy answer, right?
I don't think so, no. It probably depends on the situation.
Yeah, and your comfort level, I suppose.
Exactly. And you know what else I think this brings up? It makes you think about how we view memory these days.
Oh, interesting. Like in the age of smartphones and everything?
Right.
Yeah.
We have so much information at our fingertips now.
You don't have to remember anything.
Exactly. So does it even matter as much if we can't recall every single detail on the spot?
That's a really interesting thought. Like, has technology made it okay to be a little more forgetful?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something to think about for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's giving me a lot to ponder. Yeah. But anyway, I think this has been a really great deep dive.
It has.
We've all been there, right? With the name forgetting.
Oh, absolutely. More times than I care to admit.
So the next time it happens, just remember. A little humor and self-awareness can go a long way.
Couldn't agree more. And hey, if all else fails, just blame technology.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. Until next time.
See you then.